Well, hi there. I'm Chris Enoch. I'm the pastor of the Presbyterian Church of Marion in Marion Center, Pennsylvania, and I'm just glad that you are here to spend about 40 minutes or so with us as we worship the Lord, as you spend some time here on YouTube looking at our YouTube worship playlist for September 27th, 2020. I have a couple of announcements that I do want to share with you right now. We're going to be taking communion next Sunday. Next Sunday is World Communion Sunday, and people around the world will be sharing in breaking of the bread and drinking of the cup. And I want to encourage you, if you plan to partake in any way, shape, or form of the body and the blood of Jesus Christ, to spend some time in prayer this week, contemplating your relationship with Jesus and your relationship with the people around you. If you're going to be doing communion at home, yes, we'll be doing it here at the church. We meet at 10:30 on Sunday mornings, taking precautions. We have a 50% capability here in the sanctuary. But if you're going to do it at home, reach into your own kitchen and find your bread and beverage, whatever it is that you would want to use. We understand there's this rich symbolism in the traditional elements that are used at the Lord's Supper, but the church also has a long history of really making the most of using the fitting materials that we have around us at any point in time. So feel free to be creative. Use what you have on hand. Last month, we had some people at our church watching online who used soft pretzels and they used grape soda. And that's fine. Use what you have. That's exactly what Jesus did when he gathered with his disciples in the upper room at the Last Supper before he was executed. We also want to be a little bit more proactive when it comes to our prayer lists, our prayer time here at church. And we would like to start sending out a weekly reminder of the prayers that we have ongoing here, just like we used to have in the bulletins when we were printing up bulletins. That being said, if you have a prayer request, there are a multitude of ways to get a hold of us. You can get a hold of us by leaving a comment here on YouTube. You can get a hold of us through our Facebook page. You can go directly through our website, marionpress.org. You can email us directly at mcpressprayer@gmail.com. Call us, 724-397-8110. All sorts of ways to get a hold of us, to leave a prayer request. And if you would like to be on our email prayer chain, including the weekly reminders, please let us know through any of those means. We're reading an article this week. As of last October, I guess now that's almost a year ago, the Bible had been translated into 698 languages. But there's been one language through the years that have really eluded translators. That was until a couple of weeks ago when they finally got the books of Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel translated. According to Christianity Today, work on translating the Bible into sign language, ASL, it actually started in 1981 with a man by the name of Dwayne King. He was a minister at an independent Christian church. King, who does have hearing, had learned to sign after meeting a deaf Christian couple in 1970. And the couple had told King that they actually avoided going to church because they could not understand what was going on. And King has felt ever since then that he needed a way to help the deaf community. King and his wife, Peggy, then started a church and a mission for the deaf in Iowa. In 1981, that was a long time ago, right? It was almost 40 years ago. He started work on a deaf translation of an ASL Bible. And what he says this: most hearing people don't understand how difficult it is to learn to read, really, when you cannot hear. Deaf people, he says, rely so much on their eyesight that they really need to have everything very tangible. They want to be able to see everything. And translating then into sign language begins with the adaptation of English words into front translation. And it's a version that uses a word order and vocabulary that has to correspond with sign language. And Harold Noe, he was a Hebrew and Greek scholar who was working with the deaf mission. He said in an interview back in 2004 that the translations are very difficult because ASL has a different syntax than spoken English. For instance, the same size used for resurrection is a sign used for stand up. And he said he recalled working with kids, teaching kids some things out of the Bible, and he would use the sign meaning resurrection, but the kids would stand up getting ready to leave the class. That being said, ASL has done that 699 languages that the Bible has been translated into. I wonder what's going to be number 700. Anyway, we have gathered together, in whatever circumstances you find yourself in as you watch this video, to worship the living God. And now allow me to lead us in a responsive call to worship. On this day we gather to remember Jesus Christ and Him crucified. The one who loved us and gave Himself for us. Let us draw near in full assurance of God's endless love and mercy. We give our thanks and praise to Jesus Christ, who carries our sorrows, heals our wounds, and redeems us from sin and death. My friends, let's worship our God.